Let's go over how to play Snakes and Ladders in online playful math. The objective of the game is to reach the end of the game board, which is done by progressing through the numbered spaces that have snakes and ladders scattered throughout. First, we'll go over the instructions of the game. Next, we'll go over some examples of gameplay, and finally, we'll end off with opportunities for you to generate discussion with your students. Begin by having your players place their game piece in front of square number 1. The first player will spin the 2 spinners and find the sum, difference, product, or quotient of the 2 numbers. Then they will progress their game piece forward by that value. As the instructor, you can decide on what operations are allowed based on the comfort and skill level of your students or players. Let's go over an example using addition. So the 2 numbers we spun are a 2 and a 4. Adding these together gets us 6, so we can move our game piece 6 spaces forward. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice that we're at the bottom of a ladder. When we're at the bottom of a ladder, we can move our game piece up to the top of the ladder. This ends up giving us 15 as our final position. Alternatively, if we were to land on the head of a snake, let's say if we landed on 17, we would then slide all the way down the snake back down to the tail or the bottom of the snake. The first player to reach the final square wins the game. Players can only win the game by spinning the exact numbers they need to reach the final square. If the player's value moves them past the final square, they will bounce off the final square and continue moving backwards instead to account for the remaining spaces. Let's go over an example of this. In this scenario here, our player is on square 48 and they spun a 2 and a 6. In this case, let's say they decide to subtract 2 from 6 to get 4. This would look like the following if they were to move using this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this case, they would land back on 48. Henceforth, the idea of bouncing off the last square because the number they rolled isn't exact. Now let's go over a scenario where you can generate discussion and engagement. In this scenario, our player has spun a 3 and a 3. The immediate answer or thought may be to multiply the 3 and 3 to get 9, which lands them all the way over here. However, in this case, using a different operation gets them a better result. The instructor should prompt the student to try using addition to see where that takes them instead. Using addition, they get 3 plus 3, which gives them 6. Landing on the 6 is the bottom of a ladder, which takes them up to 15, which in this case is obviously a more optimal decision and choice rather than going to 9.